So I've brought you back to my herbal clinic, my practice in Earby. So I'm going to show you now how to make an elderberry rob or an elderberry syrup, which is a traditional remedy for coughs and colds. As we've discussed earlier, the elderberry is a nice antiviral and it's a good thing to help boost the immune system. So I'm just going to put elderberries in to begin with. I've washed these. I've had a little look through them and removed any bits that shouldn't be there, like leaves or animals, you know, any little creatures hiding in there. There are some little bits of stem left on some of the berries. That's okay, you can get away with a few little bits, but you don't want loads of big chunky stems in there. The amount you use, it doesn't matter, just depends how many you've got, how big your pan is, and how much syrup you want in the end. So, as with everything, don't take more than you need. Be respectful when you're picking and using these wild medicines and foods. So the first thing you need to do is remove the berries from the stalks, the stems. And the easiest way that I've found to do that is with a good old kitchen fork. So you just need to gently run the fork through the stems and tease off the berries. You don't need to yank really hard, just gently tease them and they just fall off into the bowl. We've got some star anise going in. I just love that star anise flavour. Here we've got the ginger, lots of ginger. We want it really nice and warming for those cold winter days when you're feeling under the weather. Some cloves. And then lots of lovely cinnamon. Now I don't measure the amounts that I put in, I just, you know, use the wise woman method, a dash and a pinch, and as much as your eye thinks is right. These things come with experience. I'm going to pour hot water on now. So this is freshly boiled kettle. I'm just going to make sure that all the berries are covered in some water, but not completely, you know, drowning. Give it a little stir, and then we'll get this on the heat. We're going to bring it to the boil, and then I'm going to turn it down and simmer it for about 15-20 minutes. It's a good idea to crush the berries with the back of the spoon if you can, just to release some of that lovely juice into the brew. Oh, that smells beautiful. It smells like Christmas. So the elderberry decoction has been simmering away now for a good 20 minutes. The longer you can leave it, the better, because you want it to get really nice and strong. So we're going to turn it off the heat. We're going to strain it, so you just need a jug, a sieve, and some muslin, or cheesecloth, or a tea towel, or something like that. Some people use those fruit and vegetable bags that you can get in the supermarkets at the moment as well. So I'm just going to carefully, slowly pour. So I'm going to now try and squeeze out as much of the liquid as possible. It's really quite hot, so be careful. I'm just going to twist the muslin up on itself and gently press. You could use rubber gloves to help protect your hands, but I'm going to cheat. I've got a press, a lovely wine press, so in it goes. So I'm just pressing the elderberries now to get all the last bits of liquid out. If you are doing this at home, be very careful when you're handling hot liquid. Ideally, you'd have somebody helping you with this to hold the jug while you pressed. It's lovely and concentrated. So now I need to measure the amount of liquid that I've got. It's 1.5 litres. So I'm going to put that in the pan, which I've rinsed out to get rid of all the bits. And we need 1.5 kilos of sugar to go in there. You can just use normal white granulated sugar, or you can use brown sugar. Dark brown sugar is really nice, and you get those extra minerals with that. You could use honey instead of sugar if you wanted to as well. You'd have to use just slightly over 1 to 1. So I'd probably put like 1.75 litres of honey in there, which sounds like a lot. If you don't put enough sugar in, it won't preserve as well, and it will be liable to go mouldy quickly. If you put too much sugar in, you'll tend to get crystals forming. It'll all begin to crystallise in the bottles, in which case you can just melt it and go again. So I've got this now on a high heat. I'm going to just stir it up to help the sugar dissolve. I'm going to bring it to the boil. Then I'm going to turn the heat down and just let it simmer for a few minutes until it begins to thicken. And we get a lovely syrupy consistency. Can't wait to try this. It just smells so beautiful. You can just skim any bits off of foam that gather on the top. Okay, so this has been bubbling away for some while now, and it feels like it's thickening up a little bit, so I'm going to call this done. There's no exact science to this. And then I'm going to put this into sterilised bottles. It's really important that you put them in sterilised bottles, which you can do simply by just putting them in an oven, turning the oven on, letting it to the highest temperature, letting it get hot, and then just turning it off and leaving the bottles or jars to sit in there. And there we have it. You could take a tablespoon of that, or 15 mils a day, when you feel like you're starting to come down with a cold or flu. It's really nice to add some hot water to it and make it into a nice warming, soothing drink. Because it has got a lot of sugar in there, I wouldn't overdo it. I'd just stick to 2 or 3 doses a day, and save it for when you do feel like you are starting to come down with something, when you're feeling tired, or you've got that itchy throat, or your nose is starting to run and you just feel like you need a little pick-me-up. So you can use it like a cordial. Just put about a tablespoon into a mug, add some hot water from the kettle. Wow, look at that colour. Oh, it smells really good. Delicious. So I hope you've enjoyed this practical session making the elderberry syrup and making the hedgerow vinegar. If you would like to learn more, you can come and do an online course with me. The website is www.weedsandwildmedicine.co.uk. I hope it's given you some confidence to be able to get out there, to be able to recognise different things and know a little bit about how you can work with them and use them for your own benefit.